Hello, and welcome to this episode of Season 9 of W-EPS The Beak. As most of you know from a past episode, I'm Wyatt Paul, and I'm a shopaholic. In this video, I will be reviewing some of my top favorite purchases. First off, we're going to be looking at the Bissell Little Green Hydro Steam, which is a portable carpet shampooing system that can be used in a variety of scenarios. First, we'll talk about strengths. In my experience, it works well with removing stains from carpet, couches, or sofas, and many other surfaces that are similar. It also includes a steaming attachment to remove dirt from, let's say, cars, for example. It's very effective at removing dirt from surfaces, including vehicles, using its steaming function. It's also surprisingly easy to fill up the reservoir with water and its dedicated branded shampoo solution, and it even includes marks on the tank that show how much water and solution you need for a small stain or a large stain. And here's where people get a little leery about these kinds of machines, the dirty water tank. Now, on this version of the Bissell Little Green series, the dirty water tank is surprisingly easy to dump the contents out of and clean, as I usually rinse it out after I've dumped the dirty water out, which makes it more or less clean. But if necessary, you should be fine to wash it using just dish soap if some spots are more stubborn to come off on the inside of the tank. Now, let's talk about weaknesses. This first one isn't a huge concern, but it is a good one to know if you'll be purchasing one. It's the clean water reservoir, the tank on the machine where the clean water, along with the solution, will go for the machine to use. It works super well, but you do have to be careful when filling it up with water and solution because I've had it spill a tiny bit on the sides before, but it really won't affect the machine in any way. So just make sure to wipe the sides if you do spill any so the tank won't stick. Now, let's talk about rinsing out the clean water tank after using the Little Green, as I bet no one would want to have leftover suds just sitting in a reservoir until the next time they use it. So what I do after I'm done using it is I take the whole machine, unplugged obviously, to the bathtub in one of our bathrooms, and I detach the clean water reservoir from the machine, and I run it under cold water, and I make sure to rinse out the reservoir thoroughly and make sure that no suds remain on the inside of the tank. Then I sit it on its side in the tub, and I leave the lid open so that the inside of the reservoir won't start to smell like mold or mildew, and I let that air out for about a day before putting the reservoir back in the machine so it's ready for its next use. Overall, I give this product a 4 out of 5 due to it being super easy and straightforward to use and operate, and it being a little challenging to clean the tubes and reservoir up before storing it. Of course, who can't do without the KitchenAid Burr coffee grinder? First off, for the great things it does, it, of course, grinds coffee well, it's relatively easy to clean and operate, and it has many adjustable settings, such as a dial to choose for how coarse or fine you want your coffee beans ground. However, it can be a bit tricky to get the feeder that goes on top of the machine to lock in, but usually most of the time it goes well and it isn't a hassle for me. Overall, I give this coffee grinder a 5 out of 5. I give it this because of its variety of settings and options for grinding coffee and to keeping it fresh for longer. Lastly, we're going to look at the KitchenAid semi-automatic espresso machine. For the strengths, it brews espresso and froths and steams milk well, and it also looks good in the kitchen alongside the coffee grinder, which you can get in the exact same color. It also has a dedicated clean button, and all I have to do to clean it is pouring equal parts water and vinegar into the reservoir tank and run it through the cleaning cycle, which works well, but I often must run it through 2 times for it to work effectively. For the weaknesses, the machine does need to be cleaned often, probably once a month or so. Otherwise, it will keep blinking at you and will not work unless it is thoroughly cleaned. In summary, I give this product a 4 out of 5 due to it being easy to use and operate, but also because it can be a bit challenging to clean. Thank you all for joining me as I went through and explained all about my favorite gadgets that I've ordered during my frequent shopping excursions. And thank you for joining us for this episode of The Beak. Be sure to check out our newsletter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram at W-EPS The Beak. On air, in print, in the know. Especially when it comes to online shopping.